Greetings and salutations, e-reader lovers. It's Michael and Peter here with GoodEreader.com, and we have a comparison today of the Icarus Illumina 2nd generation versus the Kobo Aura. So both of these e-readers have a lot in common. They have a front lit display. Resolution is very fine on both of them. The premise of today is just to look at the overall features and what you could expect out of the ebook and PDF experience, because that's pretty well, Peter, you know, why we buy e-readers.
Pretty much.
Okay, so one thing to note with the Icarus is that it's running a version of Open Android. So this means that you could actually install third-party app stores and install any app that you want. So a lot of these apps came preloaded on it, like Opera Mini, G-Reader, Kobo, Dropbox. But it does have an app store here, powered by Good eReader, and you could actually install things like Moon Plus Reader and a lot of other e-reading apps. So there's a lot of great content. With the Kobo, Peter, we don't have that freedom.
No, it is running Android, but it's a super skinned down version of Android. There's no side loading, there's no loading off of SD card, there's no downloading and installing APKs off of the web, there's no package installer. Android is just the base structure. It doesn't mean that you can actually get the conventional gridded app view here. Okay,
so let's look at the home screens. So this is the home screen of the Icarus. You can see the recently added, the recently read. The Kobo often dynamically changes as well, but it actually gives you like progress reports, how much you have read a particular book, and it also has gateway purchases here to the Kobo bookstore. I like the reading stats here, and under extras you can actually see more reading stats here. So you can kind of get an indication on how long does it take you to get through a book? How many page turns do you make in an hour? I kind of like things like that. It kind of gives you an incentive to read a little bit more. And of course, there's also rewards and things like that. With the Icarus, it's pretty basic. Most things that you have content-wise are underneath books. So this is the document folder. Books are here. Tests is the directory that you made.
Yeah, because this utilizes a file browser very similar to that of a computer or cell phone, so you can go in depth into this and load pictures and JPEGs and just open them.
So by default, there's a lot of books that are loaded on here.
You'll see none of the thumbnails really work properly.
Yeah.
A lot of these generic light gray nondescript e-reader image.
Alright, so let's look at a standard book. So you notice that with both of them you don't really see a lot of page refreshing. I think the Kobo is less noticeable. It looks like the Icarus is doing it every 6 pages, so you're getting that full page refresh.
The Kobo actually does it every page, but it's less noticeable. It kind of grays out with these little dots. But that way you actually don't get that full page wipe like you just saw there.
Okay, so what are your first impressions with it's the same sort of fonts, same size of fonts? What do you think?
I like the Kobo because it's a flush screen and bezel. It actually looks closer to the surface, whereas this looks like there is a layer above it. So I would say that they're both pretty well formatted. They both look quite nice. We'll have the glow light on this, but we'll just turn that off to get a better indication. They both have the same kind of this light gray, black on gray. The contrast is very similar. They're pretty similar.
That's a valid point, because if you guys could see on the camera, this screen is sunken. So like the bezel is surrounding it, whereas with the Kobo Aura, it's flush with the screen. So it's much like your tablet and smartphone. Exactly. What can we do with editing texts? So we can click on the center of the screen to bring up various options.
Line space, very technical line space. You have point ranges.
Not so intuitive for your average user.
You have progress bar, different fonts, Korean even.
Android emoji.
Yeah, let's not do that. But
it's like we could read a book in just smiley faces and frowny faces.
Yeah, so you have the conventional ways to augment your text.
With Kobo, you do have a lot of default fonts here, but one of the cool things is that you can load in your own fonts. So the Kobo makes things a little bit accessible for your average user, but also for your advanced user as well. So you have justification margins, everything like that. You could also make annotations, search in a book, access the dictionary. There's a lot of different dictionaries that come loaded on this, as you can see here. And you can install other ones too.
Same kind of thing here. You have annotations, notes, highlights. We'll save that. You can highlight bodies of text, copy, dictionary lookup. Pretty simple. Let's check out the keyboards side by side here. Do an annotation again. Keyboards are a little bit different. These keys are very close together, whereas the keys here, they're a little bit spread out. I
kind of like like this keyboard a little bit better, even though that the Kobo one is a little bit larger. I kind of like this seems like a true Android keyboard.
And especially because the QWERTY layout is staggered. You see the QAZ are angled, whereas the QAZ it's gridded. So this is the conventional keyboard layout, whereas this is kind of forced to justify a grid.
So if you're a regular Android user, you'd probably feel more at home with this one.
Right.
Okay, so, you know, I think that the Kobo might be doing a better job. Just look at your standard ebook, and I think that mostly it's just because all of the settings are...
There's a lot more you can do with it too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at a PDF.
Good old D&D.
Yeah, this is the reason why we like testing this one, is because it's a very complex document. There's a lot to it.
There's pictures, borders, lots of different grayscales. You can see right here that we have super light gray, dark, lighter gray. It's a complex PDF, and it's very large, so it really pushes the e-reader to its limit.
Speaking of dark, the Icarus is the only e-reader I've seen that allows you to actually adjust the gray and white balance
in a PDF.
Yeah.
The Kobo can do that on ebooks. It can adjust contrast, heaviness, thickness on an ebook, but not on the PDF experience.
So we've just increased like
a couple levels.
Yeah, a couple levels. So you could see that the shadows. Okay, if you look at like this picture of this guy here, it almost looks better now because we've adjusted the shades and making it.
It was looking kind of faded when it was light.
Like this. This kind of looks a little bit faded. This looks all pronounced.
Right. Let's try some pinch and zooms. So the Icarus can't do that steady pinch and zoom. It kind of zooms in levels. It's not really doing it right now. There we go. So it just took a very long time, but you can see that it just kind of does those single layer zooms, and it's pretty extreme. So
yeah, this isn't an e-reader that you want to pinch and zoom. You can think of it as like everything you do is like a little bit of a magnifying glass.
Exactly, but there's no mini map like there is on the Kobo. The Kobo has you know, a guideline. You can kind of understand where you are because it's even, but this is pretty bad. Yeah.
So one thing that this does have that the Kobo doesn't is a reflow button.
And that's always good on PDFs. A lot of second tier companies like Icarus, Pocketbook, they have this option, but it's, once again, it's very unresponsive when you change the entire PDF to something and then try to change it back. So
yeah, so as you can see, I mean, we're having mad problems with the Icarus due to just the PDFs. It's basically unable to really kind of handle this 120 MB file that we're throwing at it.
But because this is running Open Android, you have the option to stray away from the conventional stock experience and download PDF Viewer, Adobe Viewer, or any other PDF app you want, because this can support that.
Right.
So that's an advantage that the Icarus has over the Kobo.
So with the stock experience, which most people will be using right out of the gate,
exactly.
you don't want to rely on that for the PDFs. You probably do want to do what Peter said and download Adobe Reader or Replica Reader, or use the PDF functionality in like Moon Plus Reader, Aldico, things like that.
Precisely.
So this has just been a quick comparison of both of these devices, reading a PDF and reading an ebook, as well as giving you like a quick overview of everything that you can do here. Of course, there is a lot more to these devices. Kobo has a bookstore, Icarus doesn't. It relies on third parties to do that. But they both do have dictionaries, they both have web browsers, but a lot of these features are kind of buried within submenus and things like that. Comment or address any of your questions or concerns on this video. If you have any ideas for future videos, kind of let us know for a review of the 2nd generation Icarus Illumina and the Kobo Aura. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.
We'll have the box. We'll put it in the box. We'll give you the charger. We'll give you the USB cable. Give you the manual. Give you the retail packaging. And we'll send it right to you for free. What do you got to do? Same thing as usual. You got to watch our video. You got to like our video. You got to subscribe to our channel. And you got to leave a comment. You have to leave a comment because it's just a nice thing to do, okay? You can't just expect to watch our video and we just kind of hand it to you. You gotta at least participate. You gotta say, hey, you know, thanks everybody, thanks Goody Reader, you're the best ever, you know, like what most people do. And, you know,